We went and saw a double feature. We have a date night every single month. Make sure we do something fun, just us, away from the kids. And it was my pick. And I said, you know what? We're starting spooky season this month. Why don't we go do a double feature like we used to do way back when? We used to go do double features all the time. And this month, the double feature was going to be Stephen King's The Long Walk and The Conjuring Last Rites. So these are, obviously, I love The Long Walk book. I've talked about on this channel why this is such an important book to me. Read it really, really late. And it just might be one of my top 10 Stephen King stories. It really is wonderful, especially when you consider the guy wrote this when he was a teenager, man. It's really impressive what he did with this story. So it's always one where I've been like, that would be one of the easier movies of his to adapt. And I thought, well, I don't know, it is a story just about people walking. How do you make that entertaining on the screen? Well, just like the book, you make sure those conversations are amazing and you get these guys' camaraderie in this really, really horrible event that they're taking place in. And the movie, guys, I'm happy to say it was incredible. It was incredibly well done. I thought it was absolutely captured what I loved about that book. It made my wife cry twice. It's a very emotional movie. The acting is phenomenal. Look, this is an ensemble cast, and they're all great. I think the director or whoever put this together, this cast together, casting director, must have had these people hang out for a couple months first to make sure they kind of got used to the way each other talk about. Because I believed that these guys on screen knew each other. It was so well acted. But I'll have to say the actor, I didn't write his name down. I haven't seen him in anything else that I know of. But the actor who played Peter McVries, he was incredible. Scene stealer. He nails so many lines that you will recognize from the book. He is just phenomenal in this. And guys, I think that this is not only one of the best Stephen King adaptations I've ever seen. It was in the running in my head for a little bit like, is this the best Stephen King adaptation ever? Until about the final 15 minutes. Now, I won't tell you why, but just know, look, it's a Stephen King story. There's going to be some changes on the screen. I thought this was an incredibly faithful adaptation until about the last 15 minutes. What happens with the final three contestants, it's a little different than what you get in the book. So that might actually kind of make you be like, God, so close, but yet so far. Look, if you didn't read the book, I think you can still absolutely love this movie. If you read the book and you thought the ending was meh, like a lot of people do with Stephen King stories, you might be fine with it. For me, I thought that the way the book ended was just amazing. And this changes some things. It does change some things. It kind of gives some different roles to different characters there when you get down to the final three. But again, still, this was a phenomenal movie, guys. Anyone, I think, will like it. Now, look, obviously, it's dystopian. It's very, very grim. It is one of those endings that will have the audience leaving in silence. You know, that's just the story. It really is. There can only be one winner in this contest. It's very, very frightening to think about. And that's why I say, yes, I would call this dystopian horror. My wife is very much against that. She's like, nah, it's just, she's like, so would you call the Hunger Games horror? I was like, in some regards, sure. So I think it's just going to be that there's so many different kinds of horror. And you see the name Stephen King, you want to kind of associate it with horror right away because that's the guy, right? The Long Walk is one of those movies that will move you. You will feel something right here because the dialogue and the delivery and the story is just so deep. The way these guys talk to each other is just incredible. Incredible story. Now, it's very rated R. There's a ton of bad language, guys. A ton. You're dealing with young guys. They're going to be cussing every other word. There's a lot. I think there's more bad language in this movie than Stephen King put in the book. And Stephen King, he likes him some bad language. But it's incredible movie, guys. Absolutely go see it. I know it's got like a limited release. We had, I think, 3 theaters in all of Houston that were carrying the movie. So I don't expect it to do financially well. But I think this is going to be one of those that like word of mouth carries this, and it's probably a big hit. Later, in years down the road, people will look at this movie and be like, wow, why haven't I heard of this? I think. So I don't think that the studio was very much in support of it. It's not a huge budget movie because it's just kids walking down a road. I mean, the biggest budget you probably got is Mark Hamill's salary. That's probably the biggest budget you've got in this movie here. So it never looks cheap or anything like that. I think it's got some incredible cinematography. It has some really, the night shots where it has like the outline of them with the spotlights on them. It looks really beautiful. Really, really touching movie. Great soundtrack. Wonderful acting. No one in this movie was bad. It's just an awesome flick. Hope you guys will see it. Because I was as someone who loves that book so much, I was very, very pleased with that movie. And with that and Life of Chuck in the same year, it's like, wow, maybe Stephen King adaptations are taking another turn to where we say, hey, if we make them more like the book, people tend to like them. We're not better writers than Stephen King. Quit trying to change the stories on the screen. Now, this does have some changes, but still, as far as Stephen King adaptations go, this is one of the most faithful I've ever seen, up until, like I said, those last 15 minutes. So if you love the book, please check it out. If you haven't read the book, do so. Absolutely do so. But I think you will like this movie very much as well. And the next person that says, oh, this is stealing from Hunger Games, I'm going to slap you. That's it. I'm a nice guy, but I will slap you. Don't make me smack you, sweetheart. I'll do it.